video will demonstrate how to use Blackboard Ally to improve the accessibility of your course content. We'll start with what Ally is and why it matters. Then we'll take a look at the three main Ally features that you'll use most: the instructor feedback panel, the course accessibility report, and the automatically generated alternative formats. We'll demonstrate how to upload a file such as your course syllabus, how to check its accessibility and make improvements. We will take a look at both a Word document and a scanned PDF as examples. You've likely been hearing a lot about Title II requirements and deadlines lately, and those are important. But as educators, accessibility is really more about removing barriers so our students can fully access our course materials and engage with the content. And that's where Blackboard Ally comes in. So Blackboard Ally is built directly into Blackboard, and it's designed to help you make your course content more accessible for both you as the instructor and your students. For instructors, Ally provides you with feedback and guidance to help improve accessibility as you're building or updating your course. And for students, it provides alternative formats to access course materials based on their own personal needs and preferences. Now let's take a look inside Blackboard. And I'm going to go ahead into the Welcome and Course Syllabus section and just upload a Word document as an example. Once the file is uploaded, you'll see an overall accessibility score for that file. It looks a bit like a fuel gauge. If I hover over that, it's going to tell me my accessibility score. And if I click on that, it's going to bring me into the instructor feedback panel for that file. At the top, you'll see the overall accessibility score on the right-hand side, along with a list of issues that were identified. So in this case, it shows me the first issue. However, you'll notice to the right, there is a little button here that says All Issues. And that's going to show me that in this case, for this file, there are 4 different issues that were identified. To look at more details about one of the specific issues, I just click that arrow to the right to expand. For example, here we can see that this document contains images without descriptions. If I click this button, it's going to tell me what that means. So it tells me what is an image description, and it tells me why this is important. If I close this out, it also gives me guidance on how to add these descriptions. And it gives downloadable instructions or printable instructions depending on what your original software is that you used for your file or what your preference is. I'm just going to click on Office 365 as an example. So it gives you step-by-step guidance, and it tells you there's 2 images that are missing a description, and it tells you how to go about adding the description, and it gives you the ability to print these instructions if you'd prefer, or save them for later. What's nice about that is you can have those off to the side while you go into Word and make those changes. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through this first one in my Word document to demonstrate how to fix this. So right now I have a score of 44. If I come out to Microsoft Word, I'm going to go to the correct file. This is it. Once I open the file in Word, I can scroll down to the indicated area in that previous report in Ally, and I can click on the image. If I right-click, you'll see I have the option to view the alt text, and a panel opens up on the right-hand side where I can add those detailed descriptions. So I'm just going to paste what I have. So best practice, if an image conveys meaning, you want to ensure that you add alt text. If it doesn't, you could mark it as decorative. So I'm going to leave this one just as an example, and then I'm going to go to the next image, and for this one I'm just going to mark it as decorative. And then all I have to do is close this panel, and that alt text is applied to those images. So once I save my document, that will be there. I noticed in the accessibility report there was another indicator that said there was a contrast issue, and that was here, this highlighted text. So I can either remove the highlight or I can change it so that there is more contrast, so there are no visibility issues. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this file. Click Save, close it out, and then here I'm going to browse for that file. Click Open, and then what it will do is upload the file, and it will show my score improved. So my score went from a 44 to a 66. But I'm going to move on to the next item, and you'll see this one says there are tables that are missing headers. And you'll see with this one it says there are tables that are missing headers, and it shows me in the example where that table is. So again, I would go back into the Word document, and I would scroll to the table indicated in the Ally report. I would click here, And then the guidance in the Ally report tells me to go to the Table Design tab, and then I just need to make sure I mark it as a header. Again, I would save my file, I would then upload, and I would get that correction. I'm going to go ahead and do all issues. And then the last one is that the headings in the document do not begin at level 1. So the next thing I would do, and this one it doesn't visually show you because headings apply to the entire document, but let me go ahead and show you that as well. In Word, there is a tool if you go into Review that says Check Accessibility. And if I choose the navigation pane, you'll see on the left-hand side, it's actually going to show me a visual indicator of the various headings applied to the document. So in this case, you can see that section 3 is actually set differently than 1 and 2, and that looks like it's set as a heading 1. So what I would want to do instead is have the top of the document be a heading 1. So I'm going to select my title and choose the styles, which I can do from here, or I can go to the Home tab and go to Styles. And I'm going to choose heading 1, so I have a heading 1 at the top of the document. And what's nice with this navigation panel is that you can see those changes right away. And then obviously section 3 is formatted incorrectly, so I want to hop to that and fix that as well. I'm going to change that one to heading 2. Now, for whatever reason, that heading 2 font is an accessibility issue, and it's giving me this little person icon to review it, and it's saying that it's hard to read. So what do I want to do to fix it? Let's just go with this. And I believe it fixed all of the heading 3s when I did that. And then I'm also going to do that for this one, just to remove any more contrast issues. And so then I'm going to go ahead and save my file, close it, and let's go ahead and browse to upload to the new file. And we currently have a perfect score. Now this is obviously a sample document, it's not very lengthy, so sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes you've got to do more formatting. So the next thing I'd like to demonstrate is if you're working with multiple files in your course, as most of us do, the Course Accessibility Report can help you take a broader view. So from the course tools, you could open the Ally Accessibility Report. So on the right-hand side under Details and Actions, you're going to see Books and Tools, and then you're going to go to View Course and Institutional Tools. And then the top option under Available Tools is the Accessibility Report. Let's go ahead and click that. And here you're going to see that my course has 2 documents, and my current score for the entire course is actually only a 50. So obviously I'd like to improve the score of all of my documents if I have the ability to do so. And we want to take this in steps. Our primary focus is any course content that we're using in future courses. So if you have issues in your existing courses, if you're not teaching those next semester, worry about those ones later. The primary focus is anything we're going to be using in the summer and the fall semester. So before we copy our content over, it makes sense to make these corrections to our content. Then we'll copy it into the next semester's course. All right, so the accessibility report is very helpful because it gives me a couple of different options here. I can see all of the documents. I could view them by file type. I can fix my lowest scoring content first if I'd like to start there, or I can fix severe issues. In this case, I just have that one file, so it's going to bring me to the same place. And so it is showing me that this document is scanned but not OCR'd. And OCR just references optical character recognition, and what that means is that it's seeing that file as an image, and so the image is not going to be accessible for anybody using screen readers or anybody that wants to highlight text, or if somebody wants to use audio downloads from Ally, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and open this file, click right on the indicator from it, and this brings me back into the faculty feedback panel for this file. Once it finally loads, it'll give you a preview of the file, and in this case you can see it's giving me a preview of the OCR tool built into Blackboard Ally. And so normally with an image you're not able to highlight text, but it's showing me that I could in theory improve the accessibility of this file just by applying this OCR fix. And so I'm going to go ahead and click preview and apply. Obviously if this was a larger file, more than 2 pages long, it would take a while. You can download your original file if you want, just to make sure you've got that original PDF saved. I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. And so what it did is it improved my score from 0 to 67, which is a huge increase. The reason it's not at 100% is that the scanning tool is just recognizing characters. It's not applying fixes to heading issues. It's not adding alt text to the images within the file and so forth. So another option that we could do to mitigate this file or to improve it even more is with PDFs, you could also go into Microsoft Word and open that PDF file. And when you do so, it's going to prompt you to convert that PDF to an editable Word document. Sometimes this works well, other times it does not. If the original file was a Word document or a Google Doc or something that was a text-based file and then it was saved as a PDF but you don't have the original, this usually works rather well. If it was something that was scanned in with a scanner or it was a photograph, it's not going to work as well. So obviously having your original file is going to be your best case scenario. Once I make corrections to that file in Word, I can then resave it and then upload it back into Blackboard to see if it makes any improvement. Alright, so it's slightly better. You'd have to spend a little bit more time to figure out how to make those corrections. So we've talked about two of the features of Blackboard Ally. The third one I want to point out is something that is basically a gift because it automatically comes with Blackboard Ally. We have to do nothing and it is there. So for example, this document here, you'll see this little indicator here. Looks like a large A with a download arrow. I'm going to go into Student Preview to demonstrate that students have access to this automatically without me doing anything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and expand my module. And then you'll see the students also see that A with a drop-down arrow, but you'll notice they do not see those accessibility indicators. That's just for your own reference to help you with improving the accessibility of your content. So for a student, they would come out, they would just click this A with the drop-down arrow, and then they're going to see all these different options for alternative formats. So, depending on what the student's needs are, this is often a great tool for students that don't have a documented disability as well. So perhaps you've got a student that has a long train ride, they might want to listen to files, or they might have an e-reader like an iPad or a Kindle, and they might want to read it on there. Another thing I want to point out is there's also translated versions. So if you have students where English is not their primary language, there's all sorts of different languages available here as well. And they can choose from many, many, many options. So great tool to mention. You could certainly mention that even in your course syllabus, or perhaps as part of a course tour you might do at the first class, or a video overview of the class, etc. So in closing, Blackboard Ally is a tool to support us all and to help us make our course content more accessible. It does provide you with guidance, and it gives you some tips on how to make those corrections or improvements. And it also lets you prioritize your efforts. So you could work on the smaller, simpler stuff first, or the things that cause the largest impact as well. Some other resources that are available for you on the Teaching and Technology site. There is a page here called Accessibility for Teaching and Learning. You'll see there's information here about Blackboard Ally. There's information about videos. So if you've got a lot of videos in your course, you could use Video Studio and Blackboard Ultra to automatically add captions to your videos. There's information about the accessibility checker tools within Microsoft, and then you'll find all of our recordings. So we had an accessibility webinar led by 2 experts from Blackboard last Friday, and then we also did some sessions back in January. So the recordings for all of those sessions are here, as well as links to some tools that are useful. Information specifically about those WCAG guidelines if you wanted to know more about that, as well as links out to the ADA site and so forth. There is a campus-wide digital accessibility hub as well, and then some frequently asked questions. If you are interested in knowing what the accessibility indicators reference, the red is from 0 to 33, orange is from 34 to 66, light green is 67 to 99, and that dark green is a perfect score. And this gives you more information about what types of files are scored and how they're determined, etc. And then lastly, the Teaching and Technology Center also has multiple knowledge base articles. We launched a accessibility challenge back in February for the month, and there were 30 daily tips. And so those tips are out here as well with step-by-step guidance. So if you weren't sure or you wanted to look at a couple of other ways to improve your course, these are out here and we will leave these accessible as well. The Teaching and Technology Center also offers our TTC virtual office hours over Zoom. We've now added dedicated hours on Mondays and Thursdays to focus on accessibility support. But you are welcome to come in anytime for office hours. And if you are unable to make those office hours, feel free to email us at ttc@bridgew.edu. We're happy to work with you one-on-one as well.